Good evening, congregation. How are you all? All right, well, two people are doing great. Let's try that again. Good evening. How are you all? All right, a whole lot better. Let's go ahead and stand. We're going to sing What a Mighty God We Serve. What a mighty God we serve. Bow before him and heaven and earth adore him. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before him, and heaven and earth adore him. What a mighty God we serve. Amen. You may be seated. Gentle Mary laid her child lowly in a manger. There he lay the undefiled, to the world a stranger. Such a babe in such a place, can he be the Savior? Ask the saved of all the race, who have found his favor. Angels sang about his birth, wise men sought and found him. Glory all around him. Shepherds saw the wondrous sight, heard the angels singing. All the plains were lit that night, all the hills were ringing. Gentle Mary laid her child lowly in a manger. He is still the undefiled, but no more a stranger. Son of God of humble birth, beautiful the story. Praise his name in all the earth. Hail the King of glory. In the little village of Bethlehem, there lay a child one day, and the sky was bright with a holy light o'er the place where Jesus lay. Hallelujah, oh, how the angels sang. Hallelujah, how it rang, and the sky was bright with a holy light. 'Twas the birthday of a king. 'Twas a humble birthplace, but oh, how much God gave to us that day. From the manger bed, what a path that's led, what a perfect holy way. Hallelujah, oh, how the angels sang. Hallelujah, how it rang, and the sky was bright with a holy light. 'Twas the birthday of a king. Father, tonight we come to you, Lord, and just thankful that we get to come into your house. Lord, we're thankful that we get to hear a presentation of the work that you have done in your kingdom through our missions and our missionaries that have gone. And God, we just pray that you would help us to hear what you have for us, Father, and pray, God, that you'd hide everyone that is going to speak behind the cross, Lord. Thank you so much for them and their willingness to serve you. God, we love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, good morning. Hang on just a minute, Jay. It's not your turn yet. Good, good evening. Good evening, everybody. It's so good to be with you all this evening. Thank you for being here. We do have a couple of mission reports to give tonight, and that's what we'll be doing in lieu of a sermon this evening. But I just wanted to get some announcements out of the way first, and then we will welcome Jay and Shorty to the stage for their presentation. Remember, business meeting is this coming Wednesday at 6. That's 6. That's this many. Well, there's going to be food here at 6. Who cares when the business starts? The food gets here at 6. And I just wanted to remind everybody that we do have a prayer time at 9 a.m. every Sunday morning. We'd love to have more people be part of that. So please, if you can, we'd love to have you avail yourself of that opportunity to petition the Lord in prayer before our Sunday services. If you're not part of a Sunday school class, please try to be part of a Sunday school class. It's one of my favorite times together in fellowship, and it's one of the most edifying times. Everybody gets a chance to talk, and everybody gets a chance to hear people's different ideas, and it's really a wonderful time. I hope those that are involved in the class I'm part of enjoy it as much as I do. And always remember that there's more mission trips coming. So we've got plenty of mission work to do, and we've got to fund those mission trips. So keep that on your heart and on your mind as well. Christmas morning service. We are going to have a Christmas morning service, no evening service, but we will have a service on Christmas morning. And we have a progressive dinner for the youth, I believe, on the 20th, beginning at 5 p.m. Is that correct? Yes. And if you have any materials that you donated or were loaning out for the float, those materials are in the back left room of James and Becca's shop, ready for pickup. They're not at James and Becca's shop. They're in the back left room in the fellowship hall, right over there, right over there. I was not paying close enough attention when I was instructed about that. They are in the fellowship hall if you have parts. Terrell, shut up. And I was also informed that there have been updates today made to the Christmas card list. So if you have not got an updated Christmas card list, please do that sometime this evening. You know, the time is just moving so fast. Can you believe it's already almost 2023? You know, I was thinking about that. I once worked for a calendar company, and they fired me for taking a day off. I got to give James compliments for that when he gave me that this morning. So I was listening to a guy talking. He was telling me about this priest that decided that he was going to take a Sunday off and go golfing because he wanted to go golfing on a Sunday. So in order to get away with it, he went to a faraway town, and at the first hole, it was like a par 5 or a par 6 or something, and it was 450 yards to the green. And as soon as he hit the ball, this big wind picked the ball up, dropped it. It was a hole in one from 450 yards. And an angel looked at God. He's like, "What'd you do that for?" And God looked over and he said, "Who's he going to tell?" You guys laughed. Thank you. Well, we appreciate your attention and attentive this morning, Shorty and Jay. If you want to come and share, please. Yes, for real this time. Please use a microphone so that the live stream folks can hear what you're saying.
They did, Terrell. Yes, they did.
stand in this general area. There.
I didn't know it was so regimented. I'm sorry. Our mission report is going to be kind of short because of what had happened. We left here on that Saturday, the 26th. A couple of people from around the Norman, Oklahoma area had rode with us. A gentleman by the name of Steve, and then there was Neil also that rode with us. Basically, it's a 2-day drive out there. We stayed all night the first night at a Mission Outpost church in Florence, Mississippi. It's just a little south and east of Jackson, and it was just a wonderful place to go. Don and I had stayed there before, and then now Shorty and I stayed there a night as well. From there on to Daytona Beach. So we got set up in the church there at Daytona Beach Sunday evening. We got there about 8 o'clock. We would have got there at 6 o'clock, except for we had to stop at Buc-ee's. And actually, we would have probably got there about 4 o'clock because we had to stop for Cracklin somewhere in Mississippi as well, or Louisiana. But anyway, it was a good trip out. There was a lot of good fellowship on the way, regardless of what happened once we got to Daytona Beach. We got set up in one room Sunday night, and so yeah, we're going to be back here. That's where they're going to stay this whole week. And I don't know if you've ever been in one of these, but you kind of look at them and yeah, we're going to stay here. We're going to move in the morning. Sure enough, we moved in the morning. But that Monday, we had both gone out. I think you went out with Maurice's team, and I went out with Jerome's team, another blue cap. And we were doing mud out this time. We weren't doing chainsaw. But he and I both went as chaplains this trip, so we were chaplaining for that team. And so I'll let Shorty go in a minute to tell what they did that day. We ended up doing 2 houses, mud out in 2 houses in one day. They were both small jobs, and I was blessed enough that one of the persons that we had assessed the first time that we went out, that we were able to go, I was able to go there and meet her again because we performed the job that at her house that we had assessed and we had already met. So it was kind of neat to see that 360-degree turnaround. But Monday night, one of the guys from a different location was very sick. He had a temperature of 103. They asked me as medical guy, what do you want to do as they get him to urgent care? Because he was 103 temperature, and sure enough, he tested positive for COVID. The next morning, we were going back out to do more mud out jobs, and Shorty had gone with Maurice's team. I was taking the van for a tire problem we had underway, taking the van into Pep Boys and get it fixed. And by the time that we got back to the church, they had recalled all the teams back to the church, and Sam Porter, the head of disaster relief for Baptist General Convention of Oklahoma, decided that we're going to bring the whole team home now, including all the equipment. And so the blue cap there was Maurice Wade out of eastern Oklahoma, Elk City. Western, excuse me, the other side, the other east of Oklahoma. But anyway, so he did a wonderful job. I think it took us about 2.5 hours. Yeah. 2.5 hours to load up and get all the equipment and get our stuff packed up and put away, and the church sanitized where we were staying in, and then we all headed back. A total of 9 people that I know of tested positive for COVID after this event. So Sam Porter had made the right decision, I believe. Get him out of there, get him out of this church. Don't stay around and spread COVID there. Get him home. So that was a good. But one day, it was only one day of work, but it was. God's on His throne. God's in charge, and there was a reason that we got called back out of there. And
Well, he kind of caught me by surprise here. He didn't let me know in advance that we were going to be doing our mission talk too. But so anyway, we did. There was some good fellowshipping, with other crew members, getting to see people again that we had seen on the first trip, and we did get to go. I did get to go to a couple of houses and talk with the people, and in one of the houses, there was the mother and the daughter, and the mother, she had faith that she had been waiting all this time. Her house had been assessed. Nobody had ever come to work on it. And her daughter was saying, no, they're never going to come. They're never going to come. Well, we came. And so we got to talk with her and affirm her faith. I think the Colorado crew ended up having to work on her house the next week, because even though we came home, there still was another crew that was going to come the next week. So, and then we talked. I went to another house and we talked with that lady and done some inspection for her and the one lady we went to, we backed up in her drive, and that's when we got the call. And she was like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" Well, we have to leave, but there is going to be another crew coming. And so, I mean, it was kind of heartbreaking in a way just to get there and almost do something. But did get to do my job because I was just a chaplain. We didn't get to do much work for them, but faith-wise, we did get to do a spiritual work for them, and we did get to do some good fellowshipping with some other believers, and we did get to learn some things. We both got our first bug out, and we could kind of understand how things get left behind and what happens when you have to hurriedly get out of a place. But that's all I got.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, I'm going to invite the Mexico crew up to the stage while they're coming up here. Come on up, guys. All y'all. Yeah, you too. I just want to read a couple of verses, one out of Isaiah first. This verse means a lot to me. Spence put this verse in my heart a long time ago. And Spence, as you all know, was very mission-minded. And I really hope that the heart of this church stays minded to missions. AV crew, can we see these guys sitting on the... Okay. Go ahead and hand them a mic if you don't mind. I really hope that this church does keep a heart for missions. And this verse means a lot to me. And I think it should mean a lot to every Christian that... Every Christian that gives his heart or her heart to Christ. Isaiah 6, verse 8. And heard a voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then I said, Here am I, send me. And he said, Go and say to this people. And then in Matthew chapter 27, and I got to find the exact verse. I believe verse 40. And the king said, these are the words of Jesus, And the king will answer them, truly I say to you, as you did it to the one of the least of my brothers, you did it unto me. We're called as Christians to be a helpmeet to our brothers and sisters, like the disaster relief does in so many cases. And we're called as Christians to go on mission for Christ and to preach the gospel everywhere we go. And you don't have to do foreign missions. You don't even have to do disaster relief missions. You can do mission work right where you are every single day. It's a state of mind. It's not a geographic location. So keep that in mind. And the next time you hear the calling of the Lord saying, who will I send and who will go in my name? And in the words of Isaiah, say, here am I, send me. So we had an awesome mission trip. I really enjoyed it. We all rode down together, and for the first time ever, I think, we went all the way south of San Antonio on the way down there before we made one stop.
Yes, we did.
And just for the record, Kelly was driving.
Yes, he was.
Kelly was driving. He did a great job driving. I'm not complaining. He did fantastic. I'm all about get on the road and get moving, and he did it. He never not once mentioned a bathroom break. I look in the back, and Terrell's eyes are turning yellow, and Dwayne's back here holding his breath, bouncing. I'm not sure how Miss Betty took it, but Kelly never once mentioned stopping for a bathroom break. So I just want that to be said, because when I was driving on the way back, before we got to Three Rivers, we had to stop 3 times for bathroom breaks.
Yeah,
So-
but you wouldn't let us have breakfast.
That's right, no breakfast, Betty. We didn't do nothing but eat the whole time we were down there. Man, I was stuffed. We did have snacks. That aside, it was a great trip. You know, everything didn't go as planned. We were blessed. The Lord blessed us greatly, and we got our work done actually a little earlier than we planned on. We actually started earlier than what we had planned on. We planned on going to scout stuff out on Saturday and wound up doing the whole day's work on Saturday. And everybody had a lot of help to put in, and it was just working together. You know, I hadn't had the opportunity to go down to Mexico on a mission trip where we actually went to 2 full church services down there. And we actually went to a service in Mexico in Reynosa. That's actually a picture of the service in Reynosa. And any mission trip that I am party to scheduling and leading, it will include a Sunday in Mexico, because I'm going to tell you, church, right now, there's some worship that happens. Right. In every one of those people in that church came up to the stage and sang during their worship session. You guys probably wouldn't be comfortable with that. And you know what? They weren't either. But they did it. And they worshiped the Lord with all their hearts. And I'm going to tell you, there was some worshiping going on. I was really impressed with that worship service in Reynosa. There wasn't that many people there. What, maybe 20 people, 25 people there? Maybe 25 people there, but there was...
That's not counting the dogs.
Yeah, not counting the dogs that wander in once in a while. And every one of them walked, except for one sweet, dear lady that actually always got sad when it rained, but not for what you'd think it would be for. She was disabled. She had one leg, and she was blind. Jack probably remembers her. We went to her house last time you were down there, Jack. And she can't get down her road when it rains because she's in a wheelchair and doesn't have any, and her road is really terrible. So Arturo said, well, we're going to go down there in the van and get this woman. Will you come help me? I said, well, sure. Love to come help you get her. And she said she's sad when it rains and she prays for it not to rain in Mexico so she can go to church. I mean, I know people here that pray for it to rain so they can get out of going to church. And let me tell you, this lady, she really She really touched my heart. And I wound up, there was 2 little Mexican gentlemen that were trying to get her in the van, and she's a little bit larger of a lady. And they were really struggling, and I said, Arturo, can I pick her up and put her in the van? Is that okay? And so he goes, and I was like, did that mean yes? And he said, yeah. So I bent down there, and she reached around and put her hands around my neck, and I picked her up and put her in the seat of the van. And just the look on her face and the gratitude that she had for somebody that was willing just to help her get to church, it broke my heart. It broke my heart, and that's the reason. That's the reason that we do missions. We did go help finish that church out. They put the rest of the tin up. They had some of the molding off of the top at the, what do you call that, ridge cap? Ridge cap was off so they could have light in there still. And they wound up we got to finish putting that on and finish putting the tin on that they had off that they were using for light. We did get all the lights installed, receptacles, a new service panel, and the bathroom circuits done. So it was a very productive trip and very useful. I'm going to tell you, we had the opportunity to worship with Marco's church in. It's not Donna. It's right next to Donna. Weslaco, yeah. In Weslaco there, and they had a revival type service that weekend that they'd done some outreach in the community, and they said 18 kids got saved during that outreach. So that was really fun to be part of that service. And guys, God's still moving, and God wants us to move as well. I had a really great time. I tell you what, this group of people they're so awesome to work with. Now, you do have to be careful because every one of them, when you get near them, they're like, bruise easy, be careful. Especially Terrell.
I thought he was talking.
Especially Terrell. I just reach over and give him a little love pat on his leg, and he said, you just bruised me to death.
You're the only person I know that loves with your fist over there.
Well, Terrell, just my love language. I think everybody on his stage except for me is on blood thinners. So,
We can help you out with that.
Terrell was trying to thin my blood a few times while we were down there. We did have such a good time. It's such great fellowship, and I just appreciate everybody's willingness to go. And it's a long drive, guys. It's a long drive. 5 people in a pickup. There's plenty of room in that pickup. It's a really nice ride that I'm going to inherit someday. It's really sorry any of Kelly's kinfolks that are watching this, but it's a blessing to be part of a church. You guys, I don't know if you guys know, but this church funded $2,500 out of the mission fund to go down there, and every single penny of that money went into that church. The fuel cost and the boarding costs, that was not part of that $2,500. Every bit of that money went into that church and went into what Arturo and Annabelle are doing in Mexico. Now, some of it might have been used for the other ministries of the other church, but that went to them. And guys, I hate to say this, but materials are getting really expensive. Doing ministry is going to get more and more expensive. So we need to keep that in mind as we open our hearts and open our resources to God's use and God's time for ministry. So I want to give opportunity for everybody to speak. First, I'd like to thank this group so much. Thank you all so much for being willing to go. I know all of you I just said, I gave Dwayne an option, I think. Everybody else, I was just like, well, we're going in December, so, and Dwayne really didn't have an option. So, I do appreciate your willingness and the work you put in. It was two really labor-intensive days down there. We got all of the lights in the entire sanctuary, both rooms and both bathrooms hung, and more receptacles than any one building will ever need. Is that right, Kelly?
Yeah.
There was some creative conduiting techniques. Is that what we would call it? Not exactly what we would, not exactly what we would do here, but you know, things work different in Mexico, and but everybody just got together and we made it work, and it was a blessed time. I tell you what, I was blessed. Just the woman's face. I won't ever forget the way that she looked at me. And then I put her back in the van, and we took her back home after service. And I'll never forget the look on her face as I was putting her back in her wheelchair. It'll touch my heart forever. And it's just a simple act, just one simple act. It was nothing for me. It took 45 seconds of my time. And it's going to have an effect on me for the rest of my life. I want to have that kind of gratitude that lady has. And it's easy for us to get so tangled up in the hustle and bustle and so busy with the holiday season. And so, guys, we have no idea how blessed we are and how much we have. And I want to be able to be as grateful as that lady was. And you know, Jesus Christ, what he did for us, there's no match. There's no match for what Christ did for us.
That's right.
And all of us ought to feel that grateful. So, Terrell, I'm going to go ahead and pass it. Because, Terrell, just do what you're told.
No, I'm not anymore.
I already knowed he wasn't going to do it as soon as I said that.
I will.
Terrell, I love you, brother. You're the
I know,
bomb.
I love you, JD. He's wanting me to go next because he wants me to hurry up. I know what you're doing. Y'all grab some popcorn. It's going to be a while. No, seriously, we really had a good time. It wasn't a good time. It was a great time. I mean, if someone outside of our church went with us, they'd think me and JD hated each other. I guarantee you they would, because there was more shut-ups and be quiet and leave me alone than I think we could shake a stick at.
I didn't know how fat my head was. 412.
Yeah, but everybody else started telling you too after a while, so, you know. But I'm going to tell you right now, Jack, you're back in, JD's out. He's horrible to bunk with. Jack's like a mouse. JD's like a Helpo running through the room. And if you leave at 7, you better get up at 3 or 3:30, 4 o'clock, and sit around and look at each other for a while. Because we got most of the time Kelly had the ride, so we're just sitting there. Oh, yeah, JD, he can call it Uber or something like that. That's what he calls what he called it. Was it Uber? It was an Uber. He had to go to Walmart. Yeah, and there's horrible snacks. You didn't even get nothing me and Dwayne liked. That was Dwayne. But no, we had a good time in Mexico. We really did. And the work we did, you know, we went, I was there, what was it, last time was March? Was that what it was? That we put the roof on, and was April, March or April. But we got to see some of the folks that we saw then. And one of the houses that we built, whenever Spence was still with us here, the couple that we built for was expecting a child, and she was there at church with us Sunday running around. And I thought, man, what a blessing. You know, they're still here. They're still being a part of it too. And Julio, her grandpa, he helped us last time we were there. This time he was there. I call him Julio Iglesias. I keep asking him, can you sing? He said, no. But he was there, and Otoro, you know, him and Annabelle, they do wonderful work. I mean, they're such a blessing to them people and to us too. Even though they're there, they're brothers and sisters in Christ. I tell you what, they're great people, what they do. That little boy right there that you see on the screen, he come riding up with those fish, and I said, what time? I said, I'm hungry. What time we eat? He said, not for you. I'm selling them. And when he got ready to leave, they had fed us, what was it, tamales they'd fed us that day? Tacos or something. But anyway, he was riding off on that bicycle. Huh? Yeah, but he was riding off on that bicycle, and Annabelle hollered at him and stopped him, and he was trying to take off with the fish and with the food that she had wrapped up in the foil, and it was just the roads were so bad, he just couldn't, I mean, for a bicycle to do it with both hands was rough. But she finally got him going fast enough, and then she propped the tacos with him, and boy, away he went. You know, I thought, man, you know, just the little things mean so much. You know, that little boy there had a stringer of perch that he was going to sell where he could make a little bit of money. And he probably wasn't, he might have been 8, 9 years old maybe. And then you saw another little boy there probably a while ago squatted down with a shovel. And his dad was an electrician that came along and was working on he's the one that put the PVC up that before we had gotten there. And he came and he got there like 9 o'clock that morning, and he stayed there all day long and never complained. Not one time did he, Kelly. Not one time. And he helped. He was scooping up some of the mortar off the floor to patch back up and stuff. And he'd pick it up and go out the back door and made kind of a little bit of a ramp. He didn't just throw it down. He took it out there and made a little bit of a ramp for somebody, that needed a walker or whatever the case might be. But I told his dad, I said, I'll tell you what, I said, I'll trade you 3 grandsons straight across. And he's like, no. But that boy never complained. He was 8 years old, and he never complained not one time that day. And, just the things that we went in and done, the work that we did, it was amazing. Like you see, we was on scaffolding most of the time. We put up 5 ceiling fans. We put together 25 blades, and we took apart 25 blades, and we put them back together again. We know how to put up a ceiling fan if anybody needs work done. But you see that picture right there, we was talking about a while ago. That church consists of about 2 or 3 different colors of metal. 2 or 3 different colors of metal. It's got a couple of doors that really don't match. There's a huge pig pen across the road. And them people worship like it was the biggest cathedral in the world. And they, like you said, they all took part. Arturo, he says, I'm not the best guitar player. I said, I thought you was pretty awesome myself. And I tell you what, every one of them took part in it, and they came up, and when they tell you they appreciate it, you feel it, you know it, that they're sincere in what they say, because they just show it. I mean, they fed us better than they eat themselves, I guarantee they did. They fed us every single day. I mean, we'd finish breakfast and it was time for lunch. We'd finish lunch and they was ready for supper for us. I said, my gosh, JD's he's gonna gain some of that weight back he put off. But no, me and him, we're at each other's throat all the time. I mean, he rides me like a crippled horse, but that's okay. I got broad shoulders. You're a fathead. But I do love him, man. I love him in so many ways. And Dwayne, me and Dwayne, Kelly, he took us to supper one night, and JD bought us shakes one night, and kept us fed pretty good. But thank the Lord for Miss Betty. I tell you what, she's a peacekeeper. I guarantee you. If we hadn't had her, we probably would have had to stop the truck a few times and had it out. But we had a really good time, and we appreciate your generosity and your prayers. And it was a tough time for me because I got some pretty bad word when I was there. I say bad word. It was bad. It was a hard word, but my family here loved me through it just like my family at home would have. And I felt like I needed to stay there because I knew that's what she enjoyed me doing. And every time I went, she got excited to hear what we did and about me going. And so that's where I stayed. And I'm thankful that I did, because I know the people there appreciate us, and I know we're blessed to have them just like they are to have us. And God leads us in a direction that we really don't understand. Sometimes what Jay said a while ago, we went and we don't know why we had to come back, but we did. I don't know why God led me south, but he led me south, and I followed him. There's a song that says, wherever he leads, I'll go. Do we really mean that when we say that? No matter whether it's here, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Ardmore or Ringland or Hilton, when God asks you to go, go. And I'm telling you, he'll make a way. And every time that something like this comes up, you're going to try to find every excuse you can not to, because that's Satan telling you, no, I don't want you going. I don't want you helping. I don't want you serving and telling God's word. I want you to sit down and sit on your hands and stay right there. Don't get out of your comfort zone. But I challenge each one of you, one of these days, if you really feel the urge to go. This lady right here can barely get around, and she went every step that we went. And if she can do it, you can do it. Guarantee you can. It's just a matter of deciding to follow the Lord and what he wants you to do, because he'll make a way. I guarantee you there's always a way, and he'll sure, if you're willing, he's ready to go. He's ready to make that way for you. But I love every one of you that I went with, and I appreciate y'all being there for me in my time of need, and I promise you I'm here when y'all need me.
I am?
You are.
Oh,
Can we help you up here?
yes, please.
Keep that mic up so the lights man folks can hear.
This was my 4th trip to Old Mexico, and I can honestly say that every time I've gone, it's been a very humbling experience. To think about the things that God has blessed me with and my family, and then to go and see these people and the conditions that they live, the surroundings that they live in, and what they endure
each day makes me appreciate more the blessings that God's given me. And be able to go down with other Christians, and like all these guys said, I had a wonderful time. And my wife will tell you, when it got closer, I'm thinking, do I really want to do this? Do I really? And I don't travel very good anymore. I hurt not just from no pee stops. I hurt, my whole body hurt. My knees and my hips and stuff. I don't ride real good anymore. But I tell you what, I wouldn't take for it. I wouldn't take for the experience. And I'm hoping that God will bless me to let me go again. And I enjoyed these two folks tremendously. And Miss Betty kept all of us straight. She took care of me and Terrell because we'd be going the wrong directions, have the wrong parts, and she'd say, no, you need to get this. And she was right. And hey, I tell you what, I appreciated it. And there's a picture here with something on my head, and the reason it is because my hands are full. It's not because I was trying to be real cute. I was trying to carry parts and pieces, and my hands was full. But the one thing I can say is that J.D. and Kelly, their knowledge, their wisdom, and being able to do that was very beneficial. Not everything went perfect, as J.D. said. He did wire things sometimes 3 different times in order to get it right, but hey, he got it right. And
communication barrier, language barrier, kind of difficult.
yeah. And like he said, in Old Mexico, they don't do things the way they do up here. So you're dealing with a whole different variables than what you would be wiring something, a house in this part of the country. And these two gentlemen rose to the occasion, and with Arturio's help and the communication part, y'all finally got it done, and it worked. And I was very happy to be a part of it. Now, I was a fetch me boy. Dwayne, go fetch me this. Dwayne, bring me this. And I guarantee that was the position that I was glad and proud to have. So if you get a chance, any of you, even you, some of you teenagers like Jack and some of you youth and stuff, if you get a chance, you need to go down there.
Kendall.
Yeah, any of you. If you get a chance and get an opportunity, and that chance arises, you are to go and see how these people live. And just to meet Annabelle and Arterio is a blessing. All those people, now you're talking about somebody that'll just lift you up.
That's right.
Spiritually.
That's right.
These people will. And like Brother J.D. said, the 2 services that we had, they were really, really neat. I enjoyed them. There was actually a youth bunch from San Antonio that was down at that first church out in Wessico. And they put on a play, and to see these kids, now these are not 13, 14 years old. These are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And they put on this play, and those type of things kind of bless your heart when you get to see them. And I enjoyed all of it. And the food, oh man, I'm gonna have to diet between now and next year or whenever I get to go again, just so I'll be able to fit in my clothes. JD, now I want to tell you something. There's no one that can eat as much as this young man can with hot sauce on it. Now, when he eats hot sauce, he sweats all over. His hands and fingers sweat, I think, when he eats that stuff. And the day of the tamales, they were good. Annabelle had actually taken, the first day we was down there, she had taken chicken and different things to different ladies from that church. And they prepared and brought those meals and stuff to us. And it's a blessing, folks. If you get a chance, go.
I want to add right quick before Kelly and Betty take over. He's right about that trip. While Kelly was driving, not while JD was driving, because he's thoughtful and compassionate, but while Kelly was driving, Every time we did get an opportunity to get out, it looked like a bunch of drunk monks falling out because none of us had any capacity to control our legs. And we were leaning against everything you could grab a hold of to try to walk when we finally got out of the truck. And by the way, overalls are the best work clothes that you can get. You're going to have to file that grievance with Doug.
Well, I was one of those people like Terrell was talking about. I tried everything I could to get out of going on this trip, and my husband wouldn't let me. But I enjoyed it. I got to love these 4 guys you wouldn't believe, even though I did have to referee between Terrell and JD all the time. I'd have to say, now boys, calm it down. I did say that one time. You don't make us stop this truck. But it was wonderful. Those people down there are so sweet. And I have been to Mexico several times on mission trips. I've been to Uganda, Africa on a mission trip. But nowhere that I have ever gone have I seen people that live in the poverty that these people live in. You just wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's really sad. And they are so happy for just the least thing that we can do for them. Before the guys went down in April and put the roof on, those people had church in this church for 2 years with no lit roof. Now, how many of you here would come to church Sunday after Sunday after Sunday without that roof over your head? Yeah, it does get hot down there. It wasn't real hot right now, but it will later on. And but they have great plans. I enjoyed both of the church services. The thing that impressed me the most, Arturo's brother, Marco, isn't that his name, Marco? He does this a little better than Arturo does, but I don't know how they do it. When they preach, they do not have an interpreter. They interpret themselves. They'll preach a little bit in Spanish, and then they'll say it in English. Then they'll go back to Spanish and back to English. Y'all don't realize how difficult that is. You know, I've talked to a lot of people that speak more than one language, and they say it is difficult to change, you know, because you have to think in that language before you can speak in it. How do they do that? It's only through the grace of God. And these people down there, you would not believe the love that they have for God. When we were at Arturo's church on Sunday night having the worship service, there were 3 people that came in halfway through the service. And, you know, nothing was said. They just came in, took seats. And when they got up, it was an older man. I say that, they were probably about my age. And an older woman and a younger woman. Well, the older woman had her arm. She carried this arm like this. And after the service, she came over to thank us and everything. And I was asking her, as best I could, about her arm. And she had fallen. And she hurt that arm. And she showed me that arm was just bruised all the way up and down. And she also told me that when she fell, she hurt her hip also. And she asked me to pray for her, you know, and keep her in my mind. And I'll probably never forget her. But she and this man and this younger woman, the reason they were late was because the streets that they had to walk down were so bad, they had to go slow. But yet, there she was, bruised up, could not get around very well, and she walked, no telling what distance she came. And I mean, when I say the roads were bad, the roads were pure mud. So, and one thing that the guys didn't say anything about, that, because they probably do it too, but our churros driving in Mexico is something to,
Just above a demolition derby.
yes, just above a demolition derby.
Just a little calmer than Jack.
The signs down there that say alto, I always thought they meant stop. No, they mean just keep going.
Don't mean all go, means all go.
Yeah. But I told the guys down there, I said, when I get up Sunday night to talk, I'm just going to tell them, like the kids at Falls Creek, the food was good. And it was delicious. On Sunday night they served, or no, Monday wasn't it, that they served chicken mole, which is one of my favorite dishes. Oh, and it was so good. And the tamales that they served, I had never had a tamale quite like that. They were not wrapped in corn husk. They were wrapped in banana leaves, and they were so good. And the food down there is not spicy. I don't like I don't like spicy food. I just can't eat it. But there was nothing that I could not eat. They would always make what they called a salsa. The first day I went with Annabelle to a house down the road. Cecilia is her name. And she let Annabelle use her kitchen. And she made the salsa. And I've never seen anybody make salsa quite like she did. And the one we had with the hot tamales was a lot like this. She took onion, jalapenos, and tomatoes and put them in a little pot, covered them with water, and put them on the stove and cooked them. And then after she let them cook for a while, she poured off some of the water, put them in a blender, and blended it. And the guy said it was good. I didn't try it because I saw how many jalapenos she put in it. But this house that she lived in was so pitiful. She had moved her living room out on her patio because her house was so hot, and her husband worked at night, so he had to sleep during the day, and she moved outside so she wouldn't disturb him. But this kitchen had no running water, and the walls were covered with curtains, and she had curtains going into the rest of the house, which I did not go in. But I mean, the poorest people here in this area live in better homes than that she had. But she was happy. There's a picture of her and her daughter on the street waving. She came down one day and brought some of the food, and then she had to go back home because her husband was at home. She didn't even stay and eat with us. The young lady that made the chicken mole did not eat with us. She had things to do. I mean, these people give so much to their church. And what do we give to our God through our church? If you have never been on a mission trip, I challenge you to go. It may not be Mexico. You may be called somewhere else. You may be called somewhere here in the United States. I've been on several here in the United States. A mission trip will change your life.
That's right.
I think that's all I have. I'll turn it all over to this old
Well, my first statement's going to be to God be the glory. I'm going to tell you, God blessed in the mission trip beyond anything you could imagine. Everything that happened, I believe, was exactly according to His will, and it all just fit. The trip down there was smooth. The driver wasn't too good, and the rest stops weren't real regular, but we got there, okay? I didn't hear any complaints until just now, but anyway. But we got there and settled in, and of course, Saturday morning we got up and met with Arturo, and we went across to Reynosa. Our plan was to go to Reynosa and look things over and get whatever we needed, and then go back on Monday and go to work. Well, we had taken a pickup load of work electrical apparatus, parts, whatever. And you're not going to believe this, but what we had, pretty well just exactly what we needed. Can you believe that? You think God provided. So we jumped in and started on Saturday morning, and by Saturday evening, the building was wired. We had two of the local guys there that helped. They pulled some wire and some conduit that they'd put up already, and that was a big help. We put in 25 new receptacles. And if it was here, about every 6 feet there was a receptacle on both sides of the walls. And we put in the wiring for the lights, and by evening the building was basically completely wired. Now, that's a miracle in itself, I believe, in what we got done. So we got in Sunday morning. We got up and we went to church there at what's his name? Marco's church. I'm telling you, it was there in the United States, so it wasn't across the border. It was a tremendous worship service. I can just tell you, if it didn't light your fire there, your wood was wet. That's all I can tell you. It was fantastic, right, guys? It was wonderful. And of course, when the service was over, they fed us an enchilada. Always eat, you know. So we jumped in the van and we go across the border to Reynosa, and we go to the church we're working on. And of course, no one's there when we get there. We're getting things set up. And the people start coming, and they're walking. It's hard to, if you haven't been there, to visualize this church. It's in the middle of a mesquite thicket with an old muddy, and calling it a road's bragging on it, okay, in front of it. And about from the front of the church to the edge of the pig pens, about from here to the sound booth. And the pig pen's full of pigs. I wish, did they get a video of you chasing the pigs? Anyway, so it's not real good, okay? And the people all have to walk, basically, to come. So they come, and they came, and like J.D. said, every person there participated in the service. I got tickled a little bit at Annabelle. She when it got time for the ladies to get up, she said, "Hermanos, pásale." Which, sisters, come on. Man, they jumped up, and there was about 8 or 9 of them that sang. There was a group of the kids that got up and sang. Even the old grouchy old man got up and sang, believe it or not. Everybody participated, and Arturo, he told us he was just going to have a little short message, and about 45 minutes later, Annabelle told him to shut up, so he quit. But it was a tremendous message, and it was just an absolute blessing to be a part of that. And then after the service, we ate, and I believe, wasn't that the tamale day? Tamale day. You know, the first. I didn't mention the first day they brought, they had frijoles and roast, rice and beans, and my very favorite, I love the fresh corn tortillas they have down there, and they brought a couple of kilos of those, and I tried to eat them all. I couldn't, but I tried. But anyway, then and then on Monday, actually Sunday night, after we got through the service, we went to Lowe's, and bought lights and ceiling fans and all the things that we thought we needed to complete the job. And then we got up Monday morning and went back to the church, and there were 6 lights similar to these. Well, you saw them in the pictures. There were 5 ceiling fans. There was 2 lights in the bathrooms, and that's 1 outside light. And so started putting up lights, and of course it's on scaffolding, and you know, that's, if you're not done that, you know, it's a little slower when you're on scaffolding all the time. So you'd think it's going to take quite a lot of time to do it. And by about 3 o'clock, it was all done. All done. And I mean, God was in the middle of this, guys. He was all about getting it done. We left there and went to Progresso after we got finished and went shopping. Some of y'all reaped some of the benefit of that. There was some benefit that came back from there. And Betty shopped a little, and when we left, I said, I believe you could have spent the whole day there, couldn't you? She said, a day? She said, I could have spent a week there. What are you talking about? But it was wonderful. We went there and then headed back, and then got up Tuesday morning. We were planning on working Tuesday, but we didn't need to because it all come together. And headed back. The trip went smooth coming back. Again, I think God was in total control. Well, JD was driving. We made it home, so you know something's going on, you know. So anyway, but I'm gonna use a phrase that our pastor uses. I'm not gonna lie. Don't you say that sometimes? I'm not gonna lie. Betty had a tough time keeping JD and Terrell straightened out. So ladies, she needs some help, okay? Next time we go, seriously, you need to go. You need to go. We got plenty of room and plenty of things to do. So think about it. Pray about it. I know, without a doubt, God was in the center of what went on there. He blessed and he blessed, and Terrell, bless his heart. I love Terrell, but he, in spite of all that he was going through, he felt like that's where God wanted him, and he jumped in there and worked, and it just came together. So, if you have any idea that you think God wants you to do something, I'd suggest you jump in and try to do it. I guess that's all I've got.
On that note, if anybody wants to come, I just have one request. If there's anybody that has a proclivity to do media and take pictures and that sort of thing, I'm terrible at it. I have no creativity. So if you just want to come and be the media person, that would be fantastic. And then you can put the slideshow together and put music and stuff on it and do creative things that I can't do. So please be thinking about that as well. That's a formal request. What does proclivity mean? Yes. You're always using big words. Make Terrell close us in prayer.
Terrell, pray for